Okay, this tutorial is over using core data and an iOS app. I'll go ahead and run the app, show what it looks like. It's a core data backend database with a UIWebTableView here, and goes to a view controller to be able to add, update, or delete a record. So here's what it looks like when it starts. I'll go ahead and click on the plus symbol to create a new record. It asks for full name, email, and let me bring up the scale a little bit on this so you can see it a little better. And phone number. It also has keyboard hide is in here. Whether you click away and come back, you click away, it's going to hide. You're in a text field, UI text field, and hit enter. It's going to go away as well. I'm going to go ahead and click the save button. And now I have two records, Chuck Conkle and Tom Jones. We'll say I want to edit this existing one, Tom Jones. I click on that, brings it in here. Maybe I want to be more formal and do Thomas Jones. Update. I go back, and I can also click this find button and find a record if I wanted to. It does have to be the exact spelling and syntax, but it does work. Notice it found matches found 1. And I go back. The other thing you'll be able to do is be able to swipe left and delete a row. And so this is all using core data. So let's get started on how to build it. First of all, I want to show you the finished product here as far as storyboard, what it looks like. Kind of zoom out to where you can see it. Okay, so I've got navigation controller here tied to a table and goes to a view control. The navigation control is the initial view controller, and so this is the one that runs. Anytime you add a navigation control to your app and it's the first one to run on the app, you need to make sure and click on the navigation controller, not the table view or whatever it is that it's controlling, whether it be a table view or a view. You'll click on the navigation control and show navigation. So that's what it looks like globally. So let's go ahead. I do have in the tutorial step-by-step here in a Word document. And you'll need a Word document as well as there is 2 note files, text files, one for contact tableviewcontroller.swift.txt and viewcontrollerswift.txt. These are step-by-step on adding code into the UIWebTableView and the UIViewController. So first thing you want to do is create a brand new single view application. Make sure it's core data. And we're going to name it Contact. So file, new project, single view application, core data is checked. We'll name it Contact. And we'll go ahead and save this to the desktop. Then it says on number 3 to uncheck all but the portrait orientation under device orientation. So we just want it to be a portrait only app. Then we're going to add some data entities, and basically an entity would be like a table and the attributes would be the fields. So we're going to add an entity. We're going to name it Contact, and then we're going to do email, full name, and phone, all of a type string. So you'll need to click on the contact.xc data model ID. There's a plus symbol here, add entity. You can double click on entity and type in contact. Press return on your keyboard. And it's going to be email, full name, and phone, all string. So email. One thing you need to make sure is that your attributes, your field names, start with a lowercase. I'll go ahead and start mine with an uppercase here just to show you what will happen. It'll tell you name must begin with lowercase. So we have email, full name, and phone is the last one. And so create an entity, 3 fields. Next, what we're going to do is create what's called an NS Managed subclass to be able to use it throughout our application. We need to be in entities to do this. We click on Editor, Create MS Managed Object subclass. We'll click Next by selecting the data model, then the entity, and then it should finally end up with a contact.swit file at the end, which is a class for the database. So we're going to do Editor, and make sure you are in the entities area anywhere. You can be over here or over here, doesn't matter. We're going to do create NS managed object. It should have in there your entity you created and already checked for you. Click next. And then next will be the entities you would like to manage. Again, the same one, contact. And then finally, we have to save it. We'll leave everything as is, a SWIFT file, into our project. And here's what it looks like. 2 import statements, foundation core data, and here's the class contact with email, full name, and phone. Last thing we need to do with core data is click on the xmodel.id, and we need to go to the class area, and we need to add a full case class. So whatever the name of the class was, which was contact, we need to join that with the class name. So the database is contact, class name is contact. So it needs to be here on the class contact.contact. And that's also in your steps here on number 6. Number 7, you're going to place an object on the view controller, the following objects on the view controller. It's going to be a title, a navigation bar, a bar button item, 3 text fields, 2 buttons, and a label. To save time, I'm going to go ahead and copy mine from my other project here. In fact, let me do it from scratch just to show you how to drag these in here. Might be better. So I'm going to go down here to the table view, or the bar, navigation bar. I'm going to drag it up here. I want to make sure it's right underneath the battery. There we go. And then there should also be a bar button item. Put there, and we'll go ahead and change it to a lesser than symbol back. Then we're going to do 3 text fields, a label, and 2 buttons. We want it kind of in the center. And it looks like this will be about 200, roughly 200 wide is fine. I'm going to do a Command D twice to duplicate it. I'm going to center all these objects in here. Then I'm going to add a label underneath the last text field. I'm going to make the same width, and I'll center it. We'll leave the text in there for now, but we'll get rid of it later. And now I want a button right here, a button right here. And this one here is for save initially, and then this one here is find. After we rename it, we can make sure they're correct in the placement here. And as you drag it, you notice that it's showing you the lining alignment of the other objects on the form. Contacts is what we want to put here in the middle, so just double tap on contact or title and put contacts. So now we're ready to, after we've got that, we're now ready to add a binding of the objects, outlets, and action. On the outlet, it's going to be full name, email, phone, status, and BTN save. So let's go do that. This is going to be full name. A couple spaces under there. This one here's email. This one here's phone. Label is status. Button is BTN save. And that's it for the outlets. Now action is going to be BTN save, BTN find, and BTN back. So let's do the back next. Change it to outlet, BTN back. Save. And the reason we need to do is save button both in outlet and actions. We're going to change the name from save to update. And in order to do that, it has to be an outlet. Make sure after the action selected, you do any object to UI button. Lastly, we've got find. And we're going to make some delegates from the view controller. Full name, email, and phone need to be delegates for our hide keyboard. So I'm going to go back to my standard editor here. I'm going to expand my outline and make sure and click on the view controller. That's one way to do it. And then go over here to the right to see the referencing outlets and drag it over here. That's one way. I'll show you. We'll click and drag it here into the first and select delegate. The other way you can do it is click the field and drag it into the view controller and go down and select delegate. So either way will work. But you do need to make sure and be on view controller here. And you'll notice right now, so far we've got the top field and the middle field. Now we've got left as the bottom one. All right. And we also want to put placeholders in here. And this one's going to be full name, email, and phone. And we can also get rid of the label now, the text label. There we go. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and add a UITableView controller, and we're going to embed it in a navigation control. So we're going to go ahead and hide the outline here. Zoom out a little bit to where we can see a little better here what we're doing. Go up to the top, and we're going to add in a table view. And I'm going to go to Editor, Embed in, Navigation Control. Hide some of this stuff so we can see a little bit better. So I want this like so. And this navigation controller here is going to be my initial controller, whereas right now my view controller is. Before I can make this initial controller, I need to add in a class for this, and I believe I had that down further. So we'll wait till we get there before we add a class. So we'll go by the steps here. So we embedded a navigation controller in from the UI view controller. Now we're going to select navigation controller on the UI navigate table view controller and go to attributes inspector, and we're going to change title to my contacts and make sure is initial view controller selected. So go here. Make sure I'm on the right one. Needs to be a navigation controller, this one right here. Needs to be initial view controller, my contacts, and there it says my contacts, and this initial view controller. And we're going to add a bar button item. Make sure its style is bordered and identifier is going to be add. Then we're going to control drag that onto the view and do a present modally. So let's go down here. It's up a little higher so we can see it. There you go. Because your views have to be up close enough to where you can add objects. So the table view's up there now. Someone here, go ahead and put in back. Sorry, wrong place. Wrong place. That needs to go here. And bordered, identifier, add. Control drag that button now to the view controller and select present modally. So select that, control drag, present modally. And if we click on this little circle here, it's now in the segue in between, it says present modally. Next, we're going to select the table view cell, make sure it's right detail, identifier cell, and here is the table view cell, right detail, identifier cell, caps C. Control drag that view cell now to the view controller and again present modally. This time though, we're going to select the icon in between the segue that looks like this and make sure the identifier says update contacts. And click away and come back. Should look like that there. Present modally, and you know you're on the right one when it highlights it. And again, this one should be update contacts. This one here on identifier. Okay. So that's what it should look like. Update contacts, present modally, and that's what it looks like. Now we're going to select the navigation item, and we're going to title it My Contacts, and then we'll save. So there's a navigation item, My Contacts, hit enter, Control S to save. Now in step 10, we're ready to go to the UI WebTableView class, and we're going to bind it. We're going to add a UITableView class. We're going to call it Contact Table View Controller. So we need to right click on our project name, add a new file, and add this contact table view controller. So I'm bring in my left side over here. I'm going to right click, new file. Make sure it's iOS source Cocoa class. And we want to make sure it's a table view controller. We don't want a view controller, which is right above it. We want the table view controller. I'm just going to add the word contact to the front of it. And then just click next and create. Now we're going to click on the storyboard, select the UI table view, go to the identifier inspector and select that new class we just added. And again, it's always good to click away and come back to select these view controllers. We're going to select this table view. and go to the inspector here, identity inspector, and select the correct class, which is going to be contact table view controller. Save it. Next, we're going to put in some code now on 11 and 12 for view controller and contact table view controller. And here's the code for it. And in the contact table view controller, we're going to do that first. Looks like it is starting with 0, has 12 things we're going to be adding or modifying. The first one is we're going to have to import some statements for core data to work. We're going to have to import core data and import foundation. So what I'm going to do to save confusion is I'm going to close out of my other project here that I have open. So I just have the one I'm working on now in front of me. So I'm going to be on view controller, which view controller, by the way, is connected to this view here. We're going to start with the view controller. We're going to import core data, 0. Number 1, we're going to add a manage object for data context for our database. I'll go ahead and put in number 2 there. We're going to have a variable for contact database. Right underneath the class here. Number 3, we're going to put in in the BTN back a dismiss view controller. When the user hits a back button, it's going back to the UI table view. So we'll find the BTN back here. For number 4, we're going to add the save logic in the BTN save. Number 5, we're going to add the find logic in the BTN find. Expand this window a little bit. We're just copying the code, by the way, in between the left and right bracket of that function. BTN find. Number 6 and 7 and 8, we're going to add in some functionality for hiding the keyboard. Touches begin, dismiss keyboard. We're going to dismiss the text views and hiding the keyboard when the user hits enter. So 6, 7, and 8. Number 9, we're going to add in some logic for the view did load to load the database. And that's it for the view controller. Next, we're going to add in the code for the contact table view controller.swift. Again, starting at the top, we're going to do a couple import statements for core data. Then we're going to add in the UI table view delegate for the contact view controller. We get more functionality for that. Then we're going to add a variable to hold the NS manage object, and then we're going to add a view did appear, which we'll get an error here right now. We've not added load DB yet, but that's normal. We'll fix that. Step 4, we'll add the function LDB to load the database. We'll put that right below the view did load here. Number 5, we'll add in the functionality for having at least one row in our number of sections. Returning number of sections is going to be 1 instead of 0. I'll put in that comment there. Right here. Number 6, we're going to have to change the return from 0 to return contact array.count, because that's our array for the app. Number 7, we have to uncomment the function table view and put in some code here to return the proper information for the text on the cell and the detail cell both. In order to uncomment these, here's a beginning comment and an end comment. Anything in between this and this is going to be commented out. So we're going to get rid of those two. And then come in here starting at the word let and all the way down to return and replace it with the code in our text. Number 8, we're going to have the show row clicked as a print line, just to show what row we're on as we're clicking away. Number 9, we're going to uncomment the function table view and basically just make the return true if it's not already for the bool, to make sure this can be editable and they can delete that row. So this one right here, we should just have to uncomment. It already is true. Put that in there. We did that. Number 10, we're going to uncomment and we're going to add replace some code so we can delete with a swipe. So here we're uncommenting. That's 10. And then get rid of the comments surrounding the function and replace the code that's in here from the if to the end of the if statement there with the code. The next two functions stay commented out. And then the last one, we're going to uncomment the segue function, prepare for segue, and we're going to put in the comment there for the segue to go over once a row has been selected. Okay. Good, we got that part. So we've added the code for 11 and 12, which is a view controller and the contact table view controller. Now we're going to auto resize the objects. We're going to select the storyboard, select both the view controller and the contact table view controller, and then we're going to resolve with auto layout and reset the suggested constraints, and then test. So click main.storyboard. We'll start out with the table view here. Click on it, click away, and come back. We're going to go to Editor, Resolve Auto Layout Issues, and go down to Reset to Suggested Constraints. That way everything will look nice when it runs. Same way here, click away, then come back. Click away, then come back. Then go to Editor, Resolve Auto Layout, Reset to Auto Suggested Constraints. If you do that more than once, it's not going to hurt anything, by the way. If I was to go back here and do that one more time, it's not going to hurt anything. Okay. Now I always do a project clean, project build. And I believe our next step is just to, after we've done the auto layout, is to test it. We're going to add, update, and delete in our test. We're going to add by clicking on the plus symbol, update by clicking on existing table row, edit that, and then update it. And then we're going to test deleting by swiping left on a row to see if it deletes. And then we'll be done. So let's go ahead and run the app, Command R. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put my first full name. Full name here in the first box, email in the second, phone in the third. I'll add one more. Tom Jones. Make sure it's, we'll make it Thomas Jones. Update, there we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and show how to delete. Swipe left, click delete. And so that concludes how to create an iOS app using core data and using a view and UITableView and navigation controller.